Should I stay or should I leave? I cannot tell you the number of times I have asked myself this question in relationships where I felt confused and also unhappy. If you're going through something similar, then this video will answer all the questions that come along with this. Let me say this right now. I don't know your exact story, but I think I know the feeling of staying longer than I should have, of loving someone so much that you forget to love yourself, of trying to make it work because what if this is the best I could get, of being less of myself to accommodate them more, of believing in the potential of it rather than seeing things for what they really are. This is not unusual, but I need you to know that you are not crazy or weak if you are in this situation too. You are just a human being waiting for things to work out for you, waiting for someone to remind you of all the things that you do know already deep down in your heart. I don't want it to sound like a breakup video because I promise you it's not. It's more of a coming back home to yourself kind of video, and we are going to talk about the signs, the psychology, the heartbreak, the guilt, and the freedom. Everything at once. Our silly brain thinks that if someone hurts us, then it should be easy to walk away, right? But when it comes to love, this is usually not the case. When we really love someone, our brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals that get released during pleasure and bonding. It's literally like being addicted to a person. That's why you can know when someone is bad for you, but still feel like you cannot live without them. Your nervous system also adapts to chaos if that's what it's used to. So even when things are unhealthy, they feel familiar. That's why peace sometimes feels like it's boring and chaos mostly feels like passion. Just because something feels familiar does not mean that it is good for you. We stay because we hope. We think maybe they will change. Maybe it's just a phase. Maybe it's all my fault. We romanticize the potential instead of accepting the reality. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you because one of the most confusing parts of being in a relationship is figuring out what's worth fighting for and what is a sign to walk away. Rough patches are temporary struggles that arise in any healthy relationship. They are usually caused by external stress, maybe miscommunication, unmet needs, or life transitions. And here, the key is that both people are willing to work through it. Here are a few examples of the situation. One person is struggling with work burnout and becomes emotionally distant. Or maybe a couple disagrees on how often to see each other but finds a middle ground. Someone forgets to meet a need but is open to feedback and changes. There may be tension or arguments, but there is also accountability, communication, a shared desire to improve, emotional safety, even during conflict. In rough patches, the relationship is tested, but it grows stronger. Red flags, on the other hand, are the repeated patterns of behavior that harm your self-esteem, emotional safety, or mental health. And here are a few examples of this. You are being gaslit. Your feelings are constantly invalidated. You bring up the same issue over and over, and they either blame you or make you feel guilty for it. You are made to feel like you are too sensitive or you are asking for too much for needing basic love, time, or honesty. You feel anxious before talking to them. You're always scared to say the wrong thing. You start questioning your worth or feeling like you are not enough. In these red flag situations, The same problems come back because they were never truly addressed. You are left doing all the emotional labor. You feel more confused than safe. You have to betray parts of yourself just to stay. This is where compatibility comes in. Let's be honest. Love is not enough. Compatibility is what sustains a relationship once the butterflies are gone. You can deeply love someone who simply is not aligned with you long term. For example, you value emotional openness, but they shut down or make jokes when things get serious. You crave deep conversations, but they avoid conflict and prefer surface level bonding. You want to grow, evolve, explore new things, and they just want things to stay exactly the same. These are not necessarily red flags, but they definitely are signs of core incompatibility. Here's the truth. You should not have to beg someone to meet you where you are. Compatibility means your values, your goals, communication styles, and emotional needs are aligned enough to support each other's growth, not stop it from happening. So ask yourself these questions. Do I feel safe and heard when I express myself? Do we approach problems as a team, or is it always me trying to fix things? Is this hard because of life or because we are fundamentally misaligned? Am I becoming more of myself in this relationship or less? Let's talk about the signs, and the real ones. Not the dramatic movie kind, but the quite exhausting ones that build up over time. The kind of signs that make you question yourself, that leave you confused, not because you don't know what's happening, but because you wish it was not happening. So, number one, you have stopped growing as a person. A healthy relationship should amplify your growth, not suppress it. But if you find yourself slowly giving up your dreams, dulling your sparkle, or making yourself smaller to be easier to love, that is not growth. That is self-abandonment. This is also a sign for you to not be in that environment, because what is life without growth? I cannot even imagine. Number two, you feel emotionally drained more than fulfilled. We all have our reasons to be with someone. Of course, every relationship has its ups and downs, but if being with this person feels like constant heaviness, like you're always giving, fixing, explaining, chasing, that is not love, my friend. That is emotional burnout. There is a difference between having disagreements and feeling like your soul is tired every single day. Pay attention to how you feel after you talk to them. Do you feel loved and secure, or depleted and anxious? Number three, no real change after all the conversations. Every time there is some issue, it feels like you keep going in circles, promising to do better, forgiving too quickly, hoping for change. That never really comes. Real relationships come with accountability. But if one person keeps repeating the same behaviors, lying, withdrawing, gaslighting, invalidating, and nothing shifts long term, that's not a relationship. That is just a cycle. And cycles only break when you step out of them. Number four, your goals and vision don't align. Now, one of the hardest disconnects to accept in a relationship is when two partners want different things, no matter how deeply you care for each other. If you're not planning for the same goals in life, it is really difficult to realign your hopes. When they say that love is not the only important thing in a relationship, I think it's true. There are so many different layers to a relationship that are more than just love. It's easy to love someone, but the maintenance takes a lot of work. Number 5, lack of emotional connection. Now, I know some people choose to be with someone they don't love, but they consider them to be a good partner on paper. I'm not against this idea. You do you, honey. But what I question is the emotional connection between these two people. At the end of the day, a relationship is not a transaction. There has to be a spark, or maybe a slow burn, an undeniable connection that runs beyond the surface level. I don't know about you, but this is actually one of the most important things for me in a relationship. You are not supposed to leave a relationship only when it's super toxic. You don't have to wait for them to cheat on you, to hit you, or to scream in your face for it to be bad enough to leave. Sometimes it's just the slow fading of your joy, your confidence, your voice, and that is enough of a reason. And I know this is not easy when you still love someone, when you have all the good memories replaying in your mind. But ask yourself this: am I staying here because I love them or because I'm afraid? I am not saying you have to walk away. But if you do get to a point where you decide to do that, here is how you do it, so you know that you are making the right decision and not just running away from something. So I want you to write down all the reasons why you are choosing to leave. This will help you when you get in your own head and try to stay stuck in your patterns. When your emotions pull you back, you will need logic to anchor you, because it happens to the best of us. Then I want you to have a clear conversation. No half goodbyes, no maybe later. There is kindness in clarity, even if it hurts in the moment. Also, set some boundaries if you must. I'm not against the idea of being friends with your exes, but it takes time to get there. It takes healing to get there. Before you do that, maybe go no contact for as long as you need if that brings you peace. Do not rush the process. This is very important. Don't jump into distractions or rebounds. Sit with the sadness or it will chase you forever. And remember, you are not doing this to hurt someone, and I know it's easy to feel guilty when you walk away from someone. There is this voice in your head that says, what if I regret this? What if they change? What if no one else loves me like they do? But I believe what's meant to be will be. You cannot pour into other people's cups with your own cup empty. You don't owe your life to anyone. You owe it to yourself to be at peace. People don't change because you stayed. People change when they decide to change, and if they do someday, it still does not mean that you were meant to suffer while they learned their lessons. Guilt will come, doubts will creep in, but do not confuse pain with a mistake. Leaving will hurt, but staying in a place where you slowly stop recognizing yourself, that is a different kind of death. In my next video, I'm going to help you understand how to date intentionally so you can attract better relationships in your life. Things start to change when you decide it's time to change. And again, it won't be easy to give up on the hope of it all, to let go of a comfort zone. But remember, you don't have to wait for someone to break you completely before you decide to save yourself. Your peace is worth more than any potential. So if you needed a sign, this is it. You have to choose yourself. And if this helped you, share it with someone who needs it. Sending you all so much love and light, and I will see you in the next video.